We're going to go through a wrist flexion eccentric stretch exercise. So for this, I'm going to demonstrate sitting on a box using a low box. You could use a coffee table, you could do this standing on a box, you could also use the floor. I'm going with what's comfortable and what's easy, but feel free to explore, as this will change quite a bit maybe on how the exercise definitely feels as a task. Also to mention maybe the surface. I'm going to do it on a hard box, but what I'm sitting on here is a softer box, and having a bit of cushioning as a surface might also help for the exercise. So to run you through it, what I want to do is eccentrically load wrist flexion, being that I'm bringing the wrists into this position. Okay, as I'm bringing the wrist into this position, what I'm trying to keep on tension or contract is everything that exists on this side. So I'm actively thinking to try to actually extend the wrist as I'm performing this exercise. An example is I would load my wrist into flexion. I don't want to be in my end range, which will be lengthening it back here. So I want to try and get close to this or somewhere around here versus being near my end range. So I would bring my shoulder away from my direction of the fingers, and then this would be, for example, me within mid-range. And then how I perform the exercise is I start to push down into the box. I'm contracting everything here, top of the fingers to try and extend. And then I will start to move my torso over my palm, moving the shoulder back in the direction of my fingers. And as I'm doing that, I'm gradually lengthening the connective tissues here. I'm also assessing how it feels as I get to end range. Just make sure I'm staying within what I am capable of doing. Now, there's a few variables you can play with as you perform this exercise. So as I was moving there, I could be mindful of the angle at which my elbow pit is angled at. So if I turn my elbow pit, I rotate the shoulder to twist that elbow pit into a different position, and then I'm performing the task. It will change how and what is being lengthened on my wrists into flexion as I go through the motion. So elbow pit rotation is one thing. You could also explore, and this could be in combination with the other variables, and what angle you're bringing the wrist into flexion. So rather than just going a complete linear motion, I could flex the wrist at a slight angle. So right now I'm moving to the sides. Could do the same thing going the other way. As you notice, I pinned my fingers down. It's just another strategy to make this exercise a bit easier. I'm always thinking about resisting into the box throughout. Something else you could play with is curling the fingers. So I could be here, I could make a fist, I could even hold a tennis ball to squeeze onto, and then I'm going to still think resist via this motion, and then same thing, moving my shoulder more or less in the direction of my fingers, but I can explore with combination of deviation, elbow pit rotation as I perform this. So just to recap, you can control the intensity of the stretch sensation by how hard you're resisting into the box. Things you can manipulate are fingers, closing them, maybe holding onto an increment like a ball, thinking about the angle of that elbow pit where it's pointing, and as you're flexing the wrist, deviating, possibly with side-to-side motions, and even how hard you're pushing down into the box. These are things that are variables that will control the intensity, the difficulty of this exercise.